Hello, this is Jenny McGarvey, and I am excited to share with you my very first Plan With Me video. As you can see, I'm using an Erin Condren Planner. I'm using the 2015, 2016, 18-month calendar, just so you have a point of reference. As you can see, I've opened it up to this current week, which is August 24th through August 30th. I have a few post-it notes and a few removable stickers that I will plan around. I'm going to go ahead and work with this week as it is right there with all of the sticky notes and the things that I have already stamped, including the headers of the boxes, which is the way that I use them. The top box I use work, the middle box is appointments, and the bottom box is to-dos. Now, as you can see, I am flattening out the left side, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so that I can get a good base for my stamping. And I will use primarily stamps from Sweet Stamp Shop. If you have any questions about which ones I used, you can leave comments. I do use one set from Studio L2E. It is the ones that create the outlines for the boxes. I do like to use those. It's fun, and it also creates a specific little space for each particular event that I need. Now I'm looking through the Sweet Stamp Shop stamps, looking for particular ones that I want to use in this week's planner. I don't, by any stretch of the imagination, use all of the stamps that I have each week, just a few actually. And I do have a few favorites that I reach for over and over, and you will see that when I'm working in this particular week. Now I have a really small little box, or I'm not box, block to use, and I do really like using VersaFine inks when possible, though they don't come in very many colors. I use just ordinary baby wipes that I pick up at Target to clean my stamps off, and if I do a deep clean, I use water and a gentle soap. But I use the baby wipes, and I do it each time I stamp. I clean them off right away. It's just how I do it. You don't have to do it that way. It's just the way that I like to do it. Now, as you can see, I stamped the box using the Studio L2E stamp set, and then I used one of the little Sweet Stamp Shop icons in the little hole, and then I am also stamping right in there. Now, as you can see, I have put those away when I use them also, and then I like to write down as I go as well. So I just used my Kaleido pen right there to write in the appointment that we had as well. Now those stickers that I just pulled off are removable, which is really nice, so I can stick them down, and I do have them color coordinated for different members of my family. Now as you can see, I'm going into that pouch in the back of my planner, and I'm pulling out a little checkmark stamp thing, or sticker thing from Crystal and Company Plans. I like her stickers a lot. They're very, very affordable, and then they're matte, so they're easy to write on, so I like that a lot. Now I went ahead and I stuck that down right there in my to-do section. I use that box 5 days a week, well, 4 for sure, sometimes not Fridays, and I like to have a lot of room to write all the different things that I need to accomplish during the day. So those stickers work. I also use stamps, and I have a different kind of stickers that I use as well. Now that's one of the stamp sets that I come back to a lot, just icons from Sweet Stamp Shop. They are absolutely adorable. They are a really good size for writing different appointments that I have or different things that I need to accomplish, not usually in my to-do list, but maybe up at the top for my work. Now as you can see, I've moved that little sticky note and then also the 2 little stickers so that I can write in that particular box what I need to write. So I'm going to pull off a couple of the stamps from the Just Icons set. Now as you can see, I'm rubbing the stamp on the top of my hand. I wasn't exactly sure if I had used that one yet, and I like to prep the stamps by just rubbing them over my skin. It gives a nice clear impression that way. Now as you can see, I'm using a Versa color. I believe it's just turquoise, and then I will use it again, which is why I dried it off, with the green Versa color, and alternating the sides that those are on. I think it makes the little box a little bit more interesting when I don't keep the stamps all on the same side. So you'll see that I'm using 2 different stamps but 3 stamped images, and I like to alternate which side they're on and which side the writing is aligned to. It just makes it a little bit more interesting. Now, I tend to be very tidy. I like to keep things pretty neat while I work, and so that's why you'll see that I often sort of tidy up a little bit in between steps. Now, I'm just writing out all the times and the names of the different appointments that we have, and I'm also pulling out my Erin Condren markers, which are great. They have a lot of different colors, so that I can keep to a couple of different color inks this week. In the Colito, I'm using a turquoise blue, but then in the Erin Condren, I'm using the green. Now, I had just written that little post-it note. The one was missing that I had there originally, so I don't know what happened to it, but luckily I remembered that we had something that night, so I could just go ahead and add that right to that section of things that we needed to do. Now again, I am using my favorite, which is the black VersaFine. I really use that stamp, that ink, probably 80% of the time, not only in my stamping for my planner, but also in my scrapbooking and my card making as well. I'm really a huge fan of that. Now, as you can see, I'm using a different one of those Studio L2E blocks, this time leaving the little space in the lower right-hand corner because I'm going to have a lot going on in this little layout or piece of the layout, so I want to make sure that I can get all of the bits and pieces right in there. So I have to kind of squish them together. In the end, though, they end up working great, and there's really no problem whatsoever, and it doesn't, to me anyway, appear overcrowded. Now I'm going to use one of those small icons from the Sweet Stamp Shop, this Plan School. Yeah, I did a really bad job because I got the block in the way of the coil, which, you know, is obviously a hazard on Wednesdays and Thursdays. But so then I go ahead and I re-stamp it, and it's not exactly neat, that's for sure. It's definitely a little bit messy when I'm finished, but I'm not a perfectionist, so it doesn't bug me that much. And then I color it with the colored pencils a little bit later, you'll see, and then it really ends up okay. But it definitely is a hazard near the coil, and you need to watch out a little bit better than I did. And I'm also adding yet another little icon. So we have the icons in those blocks, and it's just so cute. It's really just a really fun way to make something super functional a little bit cuter. Now, as you will see, since I've never done one of these videos before, my planner is very, very functional. We have lots of things going on. I have lots of practices, lots of appointments, things like that each week, and so we use my planner religiously, pretty much. It definitely keeps me organized. Now, as you can see, I'm only using Crayola colored pencils. I don't use anything fancy. I do have some nicer watercolor pencils and stuff, and I wouldn't have a problem using those. But for me, this is really just fun. I absolutely positively do not need to do this, and I don't need another creative outlet since I am a scrapbooker and a card maker, and I also do Project Life as well. So this is really just fun for me. So I don't need anything fancy. The Crayola ones do it just fine for me. So now I've colored in all my little icons, and I'm definitely not going to stop there. I like to also color in some of the backgrounds of the blocks. Again, it really just sort of makes the whole spread a little bit more cohesive and ties it all together a little bit better. Now, I don't know that I would regularly color in blocks if I had not stamped in black. The black really sort of gives it that crisp definition, and I like that a lot. Now, as you can see, I'm going to go back through my stickers that I keep in the pocket in the back and look for ones that I can use in the to-do box. Now, I love these little clipboards for that. I don't actually use them for anything else. I really pretty much only use them for my to-do lists, and they work perfectly right there. Now, I had already stamped to do right there, and I covered it up with the clip part of the clipboard. I just write it back in there. No big deal. I don't focus on it being perfect because, like I said, it's really super functional for me. So I like having it a little bit, looks like it's used, and I like that a lot, and it works out good for me. But if you like it perfect, then you absolutely could go ahead and just stamp to do on the clip part, and I've done that before too. Now, I use the Take Note stamp from Sweet Stamp Shop, and it's a little piece of notebook paper, and it fits absolutely perfectly in that box, and I use it very, very frequently for my to-do lists on the bottom, and I love it because it provides me with great lines. It's usually enough room for all the things I need to accomplish. It fits perfectly and it's adorable. Now I'm going through the little pouch that I keep the rest of my stickers in. They're ones I don't use quite as often. And I'm going through my big ideas Happy Planner stickers. I absolutely love these. These are some of my favorite ones that I have. I love using one or two of these each week to add some fun or a little lift me up type of quote like I did right there, and it works out great because the color schemes usually work together really well, just like the green goes with the yellow and the green and the turquoise that I am working with this particular week. Now, I do really like to stamp and use stickers. I don't do one or the other, and I don't lean really heavily on either. Just like here, I'm going to use my washi tape, and I'm going to cut it with a craft knife. I would absolutely use the side of a credit card or a debit card or a gift card if I did not have a craft knife, but because I'm sitting at my scrapbook desk, I have a craft knife right there, so I just go ahead and I use that. But if I didn't have it handy, there'd be a ton of other things that you could use to get a nice clean edge for your washi tape. But I use the craft knife. It works just fine, and it's very handy in where I'm sitting to work on this particular layout. Now I'm going to add a couple of more things on the layout on the left side. These again are just sort of things that are functional. A lot of my stamping is purely functional. Every now and again you will have something that is decorative, but this is mostly functional for me. Now I like to add those little dinner plate looking things to denote my dinners at the bottom of the week and use a coordinating ink color to tie it all together. This time I use the turquoise since that's one of the accents that I'm using this week. Now I'm taking from that script set, planner script I think it was called, but it is retired anyway. I'd like to stamp this week up there underneath the blank box because I often write for the assignments that I have, I give a little brief synopsis of what it is so that this week sort of defines that space for me. But you could really stamp anything there and how you use that sidebar for yourself. Now again, I'm going to pull out the Just Icons and finish a little part that I did not already do because I forgot, because I set the Post-it note off to the side. And I have to be careful because of the coil, but it's easy enough to do if you're paying attention. It's just when you get careless, which I sometimes do, that I forget and I mess things up like I already did and you already saw. Now it's easier for me to write when I have the book like this instead of open, so that's why you'll see that I spread it or I close it up like this to write when I'm near the coil on Wednesday and Thursday. Now for the most part the left side's done, so I will move on to working on Thursday and the weekend, and you can see I don't really actually have a whole lot left in terms of things that I have to plan for. I've already done a couple of the stickers, and that's what I do way in advance for assignments that I have. And then our weekend is not particularly scheduled this week, which is fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to that a lot, except for, that's not entirely true, Saturday is pretty jam-packed. So anyway, so I'd like to use the different colors of ink to tie together. I would absolutely positively just use the black. I love the way it looks. It's crisp, it's clean, and it coordinates with anything. But, I had the matching inks, the turquoise and the green, so I figured I might as well go ahead and use those. And I don't know if that'll be what I do next week or the week after. I change it up quite a bit. I don't stick to a rigid plan, but it's perfectly fine, and I'm okay with that. I like having an evolving style. Now, as you can see, I have that stamp set from Sweet Stamp Shop, and I'm going to use it to stamp in that to-do section at the bottom. I used 2 stickers on the other side and then the Take Note stamp, and I'm going to use this one to create some lines and then some little check boxes so that I can check off my weekly to-dos. Now I used the green, which I do like. It makes it just a little bit more fun, especially some of those to-dos are kind of, I don't know, mundane, phone calls, filling prescriptions, those kinds of things. So using a fun colored ink is a little bit more interesting and keeps some of those little tasks a little bit more fun, or at least that's what I tell myself anyway. So now I'll go ahead and stamp the check boxes right on the left side of those lines, and it leaves me plenty of room to write the things that I need to get done, but it does it in a really cute fashion as well. Now I've got most of Thursday finished and pretty tidied up and whatnot, so now I've got to think about what I'm going to do next and how I am going to proceed. Now I need to use the small stamp block, and it's really actually very dirty. I probably should wash it pretty thoroughly, maybe with an alcohol wipe or something like that, but I usually never remember to do that because I toss it right into my basket of inks when I'm finished stamping, and I only use this particular block for my planner stamping. Now I'm going to start working on Saturday, and like I said, there's quite a few plans for me on Saturday, so I will, like I did earlier in the week, keep things pretty close together and neat and tidy so that I can get them all into that one box using the boxes from Studio L2E. It's a lot harder to fit more in when you're using those boxes because they do take up some room. But it's okay. I like the definition and I like being able to color in there and those sorts of things. So it's really okay with me. Now, like I said before, I clean in between each stamp use. I don't use them and then leave them sitting out. It's just I'm very neat and tidy crafter, and so I like to get them put away immediately so then at the end I don't have a huge mess to clean up. Now I'm just going to stamp the icons like you saw me do on the other page. I've shifted some in the lower right, some in the upper left, some in the middle, just to keep it a little bit more interesting, and then also I can fit more of those boxes in that way when I move the icons around, as opposed to keeping them all on the top in the middle, which I do really, really enjoy how that looks. It's probably one of my favorites, but it's not the best way to fit a lot into one rectangle if I need to have a whole lot done. So as you can see, I have a sticker. I don't know why I put it there. It should be up in the top box, but I did, and those are not removable stickers. So if I peeled it up, then I would peel up some of the back of the paper as well. I don't know why it's not at the top, but it's not. So my three little things would have fit better if it had been, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. They all fit. It ends up being really cute, and I'm not particularly worried about it. And hopefully next time I won't make a similar mistake putting the sticker in the wrong spot. Now I used a cute little barbecue grill from the Sweet Stamp Shop planned summer for my dinner on Thursday night, since I was anticipating grilling dinner on Thursday. I just think the little barbecue grill is super cute, and I love using the really fun icons. I don't get to use that often whenever I get a chance. So using the grill is just such a treat instead of the usual dinner plate and fork and knife and spoon that I usually use. Now this week's stamp that I used earlier from the planner script, now I'm using the next week. And I always put it right there in that lower right-hand box of my layout, because then I can look at the assignments I have for the next week that are due and write them right there. Now that for the following week, I only have 3 that are due. So I take out one of these ombre half box stickers from Crystal and Company, and it's going to work perfectly for me to write out what is due next week. I like to put that right there because then I can work on during this week what's due for next week. So especially for like Monday or Tuesday when I turn it over, I'm not surprised by what I have due and if I don't have it already done. So then throughout my free time this week, I can go ahead and get those finished. Now, the weekend to-dos are always pretty empty, which is why I put that next week look there, and why I often end up decorating in that lower right-hand portion in the Friday, Saturday, Sunday to-do boxes for me, because I don't usually have to-dos, and if I did, that would be fine. I could just add little stickers or whatever right on top of that flag. Now I'm using the weekend flag banner from Sweet Stamp Shop, and I'm going to use a green Versacolor ink, and I'm going to use it right up in that top boxes. Now, I am not very good with this stamp. I'm going to let you know in advance. Often I get it just right, But this week, as you can see, I leave a section of white in the middle, which is a total bummer. I'm not a perfectionist, but even something like that kind of bums me out. So then I'm thinking about what I can do, like, oh, can I use a marker? Can I color in that white square? And then I remember that I have some star stickers I had gotten from the dollar spot at Target, and it might just be a fun way to cover that up. I mean, it's not perfect or anything like that, and it probably definitely looks like I made a mistake, but it's all right. At least the white's not showing, and it added a little bit of fun or whatever to add the yellow sticker. Now I will add my washi to the bottom, and then I will have the craft knife trim the edge off. And what's nice about that is then the washi that's left on the roll has a really nice straight edge as well. Now I'll use the colored pencils like I talked about already to just finish coloring these icons. I love to color in the clock faces. I don't know why, it's probably super random. And then also all the different little things, the beach balls, the ice cream cones, things like that. I don't know why, it just gives me such fun to color it in. Maybe I need to pick up an adult coloring book or something like that. I don't know. But it just adds a little bit more fun to this page. And like I said, I don't use anything fancy because I definitely have enough of a creative outlet in the other crafts that I do. So doing it in the planner is just to make it look cute, that's all, and to make the mundane, everyday tasks a lot more adorable. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this look. If you liked looking at how I worked in my planner, please leave me a thumbs up. That helps me and it helps YouTube let me know that you liked it. Thanks so much and have a great day.